Hello, YouTube. Hello, YouTube. How are we doing? Let me get my TikTok set up. Always takes a second here. One moment. One moment. TikTok, TikTok, TikTok. Hold on. I need a good title, unless I just say Trump's. I guess Trump's fascism is always a good title. Like anything to get the TikTokers rolling. I think we can do that. Yes, I gotta have to change the title anyway. It still has Ruben on there. Trump's latest fascism. That will get attention. All right, hang on, live goal. I need a quick little Halloween thing here. Our auctions are almost pretty done. Jens, you did get something, or one or two things. Since we're just starting the auctions again, they're going a little slow, but there may be one or two things left. Otherwise, I think they're done. Hang on here. I'm looking for Halloween stuff. Looking for the Halloween stuff. La, la, la. Here we go. The Spooktacular is fun. I think the Spooktacular is fun. Pumpkin carriage. Oh, we can try pumpkin carriage too. That's not the worst thing ever. Let's try the pumpkin carriage. I don't remember what that is. All right, going live. Woo woo! We are good. We are good. Woo! All right. Hello, TikTok. Multi-guest is turned off. That's good. Don't be weird, TikTok. All right. TikTok always being weird. Mute microphone, pause live gifts. All right. I think we're good. Hello, TikTok. How are we all doing this evening? Hello, my water. Well, I hope everybody enjoyed the show yesterday. We had a lot of fun with Senator Gallego. That was quite the adjust my volume. There we go. The volume was too hot. It was a good show. He's very interesting. I mean, I knew he's very interesting. I love the guy, but he's just like I said, I just think he's very interesting. And as you guys got the sense too, like very genuine, no bullshit. He's good. He's just very good. He's a good fighter. You know, he's a good Democratic fighter. You know, he's definitely one of the good guys. I've said this before. And now he's been congressman from Arizona for many years and got elected senator last fall. He's the one that was running against crazy Carrie Lake. Remember, just batshit kind of nutsy cuckoo lady. So that's pretty funny. Anyway, well, hello everybody. I'm John Aravosis. Welcome to my show. We talk about the latest news from Washington and the world. I am based in DC. My background is politics, media, the related topics, so in law as well. So I try to, oops. Oh, that's that scared me. My rice cooker went on and I heard a beep and of course, when you hear beeps, I'm thinking alarms or fire alarms or whatever. It was my rice cooker turning on. Crazy rice cooker. Although it always starts early. Well, let's see. Starting a little early. I wanted it done in an hour and it's turning on now. We shall see. Anyway, it was a good show yesterday. It was a very good show. So tomorrow we've got Ruth Ben-Ghiat coming. That's going to be a great show as well. Ruth is an expert on fascism and authoritarianism. She's a big deal. She is going to join us at 6:00 Eastern time tomorrow. Remember, the clocks have not changed in the U.S. They did change in Europe, I guess, among other places. So obviously, if you're here right now, then you know what time it is. But just be careful about the time, obviously, because tomorrow is the same time, 6:00 Eastern, U.S., 6:00 Washington, D.C. time. So join us for that with Ruth. It should be, actually, I've had her before on my podcast. She's fascinating. Very smart lady. And obviously, you know, kind of scary times, but I think she's a good person to talk to. Yeah, isn't he great, Jason? No, Jason was talking about, didn't know who Ruben was, and now a huge fan. Yeah, Senator Gallego. I mean, it's right. It's weird for me. I think getting older or something. There's when like I have a hard time calling Ruben Gallego senator, and I don't know. You know what it is? He's younger than me for starters, which is weird. And I don't know, it's weird. And I did the same thing with Richie Torres. I kept calling him Richie, and I was like, God, I should call you Congressman. He goes, call me Richie. But it's always a little weird with the ones that are nice and friendly, because you kind of, I want to call him Ruben. I mean, I do call him Ruben, but you know what I mean? With you guys, it's kind of a funny thing. Anyway, let's get rolling. Gifts. Keep the gifts coming. You know, I appreciate it. Memberships are good too. Subscriptions. I know they're kind of dying back a little bit because TikTok raised the prices on them, but they do really help support the show. You know, creators kind of live and die by the subscriptions and the gifts. So please do help out if you can with subscriptions. You get special emojis. You get our Saturday show and the undying love of me for you supporting my work. So thank you. Thank you, Sharon. Thank you, Dave. Thank you, JJ. Let's get rolling. So there's a good amount of news today. Most of it is not good. I will say right now, it's not a lot of good news. Oh, hello. Thank you, Annie. I hadn't seen that one before. The bat headwear. That was funny. I was trying to see all the Halloween stuff. I didn't see that one. Lot of not good news today. The only maybe good piece of news is from Trump, but he's a pathological liar. And he's a taco. So, you know, take it with a grain of salt. But Trump said today that he can't run for president, and it's too bad. He said, if you read it, meaning the Constitution, it's pretty clear. I'm not allowed to run. It's too bad, but we have a lot of great people. Okay, a couple problems here. One, he's a liar. So don't take him at his word that he's not going to run for president. Two, or he's not going to try to be president next term as well, which is banned by the U.S. Constitution. Two, he's a taco. Oh, hello. Hello. Thank you, Aileen. That's a good one too. Cheeky boo. Second of all, he's a flip-flopper, which means even if today he says he's not running, he could change his mind. Three, as LV Deb just picked up, he says he's not running. Oh, thank you, Carrie. Very nice. The level 24 gift. Thank you for the level ship. Appreciate that. Third, Trump says he's not running. Nobody thought he was going to run. The concern wasn't that Trump was going to run. The Constitution makes very clear you can't be elected president for a third time. What we think, at least Steve Bannon, Trump's guy, wants to do is appoint Trump as president. The courts have never ruled on this. The Constitution literally says you can't be elected to a third term. It literally uses the word elected. What if you're appointed? What if two Republicans win the presidency and the vice president next time? Republicans wins the president. He gets sworn in, and there's a new President Rubio or President Vance and Vice President Rubio, right? Thank you, Adventures. Vice President Rubio resigns. President Vance needs a new vice president. He picks Donald Trump. He can just pick him. Donald Trump becomes vice president. President Rubio or President Vance resigns. Now the vice president becomes president. Vice President Trump becomes President Trump. He was never elected. Constitution says he can't be elected. He wasn't elected. He was appointed. Same thing could happen with what if President Rubio and Vice President Rubio and President Vance get elected president in 2028? They resign. They both just resign. Who becomes president? Oh my God, there's no president or vice president. It's the Speaker of the House. Who's the Speaker of the House? Whoever House Republicans want to make Speaker of the House is Speaker of the House, assuming they still control the House. They can make anybody Speaker. You don't have to be an elected official. So they can just appoint Trump as Speaker of the House and he becomes president. This is the problem, right? I mean, I guess he could do worse things. He could become Speaker and just get rid of the president and vice president. But, you know, and knowing Trump, who knows, right? But it's very dangerous stuff. It's very dangerous stuff. Anyway, 8% of Americans say they participated in the No Kings rally, per the Economist YouGov. That's very interesting because 8% of Americans would be 26 million people. I don't know if we got 26 million people. That's a hell of a lot of people, though, who said they participated, 8%. That's really, really high. I mean, that's great. But thank you, Apple user. That's really high, which is great, but very interesting. NVIDIA. This is kind of a wild story. The first part isn't. NVIDIA just became the first company to be worth $5 trillion, obviously based on AI. The scary part of this story is, and again, this is taco and corruption that's going on here. You know how Trump has been sanctioning China and putting massive tariffs on the Chinese. And Republicans generally hate the Chinese. I mean, the Republican Party hates. I mean, Democrats don't love the Chinese. Republicans really don't love the Chinese because we're worried. Actually, all of us are worried about Taiwan and whether China is going to invade Taiwan. We're also worried about whether Donald Trump will defend Taiwan if China invades. Well, get this. Trump announced, because he's trying to work out a trade deal with China, Trump announced, thank you, Mustard, for the gifts, he's putting NVIDIA's top-of-the-line Blackwell chip, their AI chip, their semiconductor chip, on the table with the negotiations with the Chinese. Nobody thinks this is a good idea. Nobody thinks China, which is like our top rival and enemy, and certainly military rival, economic rival, strategic rival, that we're going to give them like the best computer chip that exists so they can beat us in the AI race. Like, what the hell? I mean, this is a very weird story. And Trump being Trump is like, woo-woo, right? Let's put it on the table. I mean, one commentator today said, great, so we're going to trade soybeans for the, thank you, who's it, Lise? Thank you, Lise. We're going to exchange, or Lisetter, I can't pronounce your name. It's too long, but you know who you are. Thank you for the gifts. Yeah, kind of scary. We're going to exchange soybeans for the top computer chip in the world to our enemy. Yeah, good idea, Donald. Of course, not his enemy, because what's he getting from China in return? Right? Not what's the U.S. getting, what is Trump getting? Yeah, always the question, isn't it? Federal Reserve. Federal Reserve cut interest rates by 1/4 point today, but the chairman Powell said it ain't clear if he's cutting another 1/4 point in December. The markets were hoping, businesses were hoping they'd get another quarter. The problem is that Trump is screwing up the economy is the problem. We've got unemployment rising. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Oh, hello. Thank you, Addie. I've never seen that before. That's almost Day of the Dead cartoons. Thank you. Who's that? Cody. Thank you, Cody. Remember last year, they didn't do a Day of the Dead gift until like the day of. And it was like, TikTok, what are you doing? That was the Day of the Dead one was like the coolest one. Remember, it was the cool face paint thing. I think it was for Day of the Dead. They need to kind of get that thing going. Actually, they need more Halloween gifts overall. They're not, we're already a couple days away. Like, they should have been flooded with Halloween gifts. TikTok, what do you do? Again, when I run TikTok, it'll be a different world. Federal Reserve. So the concern is that Donald Trump is screwing up the economy. We've got unemployment rising. We've got inflation rising. Here's the conundrum. When unemployment and inflation both rise, you're in trouble. Why? Not just because it's bad, right? It's obviously bad for the economy. It's bad for all of us if we start losing jobs and inflation keeps going up. The problem is the way you fix those problems are totally opposite. The way to fix inflation, one of the tools for fixing inflation, raise interest rates. The way to fix unemployment, lower interest rates. Can't do both, right? You can't lower interest rates for unemployment and raise interest rates for inflation. That's the opposite, right? It gets worse than that. Let's say you raise interest rates for inflation to help stop inflation. What do you think happens to unemployment? Unemployment goes through the roof. We lose even more jobs because when you raise interest rates, it takes money out of the economy. It makes it more expensive for businesses to do business. So that basically it makes economic downturn, it makes recessions worse when you raise interest rates, but it does help get rid of inflation. What if the Fed decides to do the opposite? What if the Fed says, you know what, we're more worried about unemployment. We're more worried about a recession. Okay, then you can lower interest rates even more. In December, lower them even more. That will help ensure that there's no recession. That will help ensure that we don't have unemployment growing. But guess what else it's going to do? It's going to send inflation through the roof if they keep lowering interest rates. That's the problem. Donald Trump has created an economy, and this is Trump's fault. Inflation, especially. Inflation, totally Trump's fault. It was getting fixed. When Biden was there, they were fixing it. The Fed was fixing it, and Trump has screwed it up with his tariffs. And now prices have gone through, you all know this, prices have gone through the roof. We are in a bad situation now with the economy, and it's all Donald Trump's fault. So, congratulations. Gallup, looking ahead for the next few years, a new Gallup poll. Listen to this. Looking ahead for the next few years, which political party do you think will do a better job at keeping the country prosperous? Typically, Republicans always do better at economic questions. Okay, listen to this. Which political party do you think will do a better job of keeping the country prosperous? In 2023, the Republicans were the favored party by 14 points, meaning Republicans polled 14 percentage points higher than Democrats, okay, in terms of who will keep the country more prosperous. So Republicans plus 14. 2024, 1 year later, Republicans plus 6. Interesting. 2025, 1 year later, Democrat plus 4. Republicans went from 14 points ahead of Democrats, 14 percentage points ahead of Democrats on who do you trust more to make America prosperous, to Democrats being 4 points ahead. It's only one poll, but it's very interesting. And it's obviously a continuing slide, which is good. Economist, Trump's net approval rating is at negative 18%. Now, net approval. A lot of times pollsters talk about net approval. What that means is the difference between his approval and his disapproval. So if it's negative 18, it means 18 percentage points higher is his disapproval than his approval. So for example, his approval could be 40%. His disapproval could be 58%. That would be a negative 18 in his net approval, right? Because his unemployment is 15%, 18% higher. So that'd be negative 18. Trump is at a negative 18% approval rating. It's the lowest at any point in either of his presidencies, last time or this time. Biden and Obama at this point in their presidencies were at a much higher approval rating than Trump. That's good news. I mean, keep in mind, Trump is being a fascist. He's being authoritarian. But last time he finally, met his match because he was so unpopular, people were getting so sick of him that he was in trouble. And what we can hope is that this time he pisses people off again, which he's doing, that the disapproval keeps going through the roof and it starts to hurt Republicans in the elections, such as this year, actually. Thank you, Autumn. Such as this year we've got governor's races, very important, happening in New Jersey and Virginia. That's happening in a week, next Tuesday. Yeah, it is next Tuesday. Next Tuesday is the election. And those elections are considered bellwethers of the congressional elections next year. So hopefully the disapproval of Trump is going to start helping with the other elections. We hope. What else we got? Axios. This is another scary economic. That's what I'm saying. It's a very scary day of news. Axios, consumer confidence. Consumer confidence was slammed by the shutdown over the past week, according to a report by Morning Consult. Why does consumer confidence going down matter? I'm going to tell you, and then we're going to tell you what the numbers are. Consumer confidence is, are you confident in the economy? Do you think the economy is getting better or worse? That's your consumer confidence. If you're less confident, it means I'm getting more and more worried about the economy, right? Well, as Stewie just said on TikTok, no spend. You sound like a no spend, no money. Consumers, you and me, regular people spending money, make up 2/3 of the economy. It's a crazy percentage, like crazy. And when I first learned this years ago, I was like, get out of here. I figured the economy was made up mostly with like big business or internet, like NVIDIA, whatever. 2/3 of our economy is made up of money you and I spend. So that if regular people like you and me, consumers, start freaking out and start thinking this economy is in trouble, like we are looking at bad news coming up, you stop spending money. I mean, you spend money when you have to, right? You'll go to the grocery store, but you'll start spending less money at the grocery store. You'll start saying, you know what? Maybe we cut back a little. Maybe we don't buy, maybe we buy the cheaper ice cream. Maybe we get, right? Maybe we don't get as whatever. We don't get as many of the fun stuff I normally buy. Maybe you put off buying new things. Maybe you're looking at a new TV and you think, you know what? We can keep our old TV. Car, we can hold our car for another year, right? Things that you were thinking, moving. Maybe you were thinking of moving to a bigger house. And now you're going, you know what? Maybe we wait. That's the problem when consumer confidence starts dropping. When people start worrying about the economy, they worry about themselves, they worry about their own money, and they start to spend less. Typically, if you're careful, you start to spend less money, right? I mean, not everybody does, but typically if you're worried about what's going on in the economy and you say, I don't know what's going on with my job. I don't know what's going on with prices. Right? You say, you know what? Maybe I'm not going to spend anything. I'm going to try to spend less right now just to be careful. That sinks the economy. So that's very interesting. What else we got? Ninth Circuit. This happened last night after the last night's show was Rubin. That's true. So we didn't really get to talk about much news. The Ninth Circuit is going to hear the National Guard case. This is interesting. Let me sip of water and walk you through this. So, and by the way, TikTokers, hello. Do follow me on TikTok, YouTube as well. I always forget to ask people to follow me, but if you like my work, follow me. I do videos throughout the day that are news updates, and then I do this show every night, Monday to Friday, 6 o'clock Eastern time, US, from Washington, D.C., where basically talk about what I think are the big stories of the day and analyzing them. My background is politics. I've worked in politics for like 40 years in D.C. and 2 years in New York, 40 years in D.C., though. I've got a law degree from Georgetown, written for The Economist and other publications. So I've got a lot of background on these issues, and I basically try to explain to people what's going on with the news. So if you like it, follow me. And if you really like it, buy me a gift or subscribe. That would be even sweeter. Ninth Circuit. So this is interesting. Okay. So remember how Trump was trying to send the National Guard into Oregon, Portland. He first, thank you, Squish. The bad thing is funny. He first was trying to send the Oregon National Guard, nationalize or federalize it, and send it to Portland. And then, thank you for the October gift, Susan. He then that was Bowie. Thank you. Susan got a gift too. Thank you, Bowie. Susan had the pumpkin. He then tried to take the National Guard from like California and do the same thing and send them to Portland, Oregon. Court stepped in and said no. The court stepped in and first said, you cannot send the National Guard from Oregon into Portland, Trump. You can't nationalize it. You don't have a good justification. Then the judge also said, and by the way, now that you're trying to grab the California National Guard, you can't use them either, right? Trump sues. The appeals court, Ninth Circuit, is the area, California, Oregon, Northwest. Ninth Circuit, which is the appeals court. Basically, the appeals court is one level below the Supreme Court, okay? So the appeals court in California, or the out west, says, oh, we side with Donald Trump. There were 2 Trump judges appointed by Trump. We side with Donald Trump. He can take the National Guard whenever he wants. We trust him, this kind of stuff, right? If he says it's an insurrection, maybe it is, this kind of crap. Well, it's a little complicated, but I will explain this for you because I think it's interesting. Thank you. Oh, cool, Gene. Boo Crew. That's really, that one I don't recall. That was very cool. Thank you for that. That's a very nice gift. Thank you. So when an appeals court in the US hears your case, appeals courts, for example, out west, they could have 27 judges in that circuit, right? They pick 3 judges to hear your case. They got 27, but they pick 3. The 3 judges hear your case, and if you lose, you can appeal to the entire court and say, you know what? We want, well, maybe not the entire court. We want more judges to hear our case than just the 3. They very often say no, but they can vote amongst themselves. The 28 judges or 27 judges can vote. And if a majority of them say, you know what? Yeah, we want to rehear this case with all of us meaning like 11 judges. They pick like 11. Well, they did it. The judges looked at the case. Now, Trump won the case. Trump's National Guard won the case, at least partially. There were 2 cases. Let's not get complicated here, right? Hey, Beaver. I'm not going to repeat nice to meet you, Beaver. Thank you for subscribing on YouTube. But bottom line is, Trump wins the National Guard appeal in Oregon, basically, in the appeals court. The appeals court looks at it and has a vote of all 27 judges to decide, do we want to maybe reconsider that case? And a majority of them said, yes, we want to reconsider that case. So now they're reconsidering the case. They're going to have another, not trial, but another court appearance, another hearing to determine if Trump is right. Now, what's interesting about this is, first, they threw out Trump's victory. So Trump's victory in the appeal court is gone. That's great news. Second of all, thank you, Cody. It's pretty obvious that if an appeals court looks at Trump's victory and says, you know what? I think we need to litigate that again, right? Oh, hey, you're in Scotland. Good to see you. We love our Scots. If the appeals court says, I know Trump won in the earlier appeals court, I think we should discuss that again. That's not because they think the decision was decided correctly. The reason a majority of the judges would say, let's have a do-over, is because the decision's wrong, they think. I mean, on its face, right? You don't do a do-over when you think you did a good job. You do a do-over when you think you screwed up. The judges think they think their other judges screwed up, and they're doing it over again. That's great news. Thank you, Susan. Oh, another Halloween gift. These are cool Halloween gifts that I haven't seen. And the that one cracks me up. Thank you, Cody. Thank you, Susan, Cody, and Steve. Appreciate the gifts, guys. So that's great news. This is great news. So basically, this case is going before the appeals court. It looks like Trump may very well lose the National Guard case in Oregon, but it then goes to the Supreme Court, and, that's not as good. That's not as good because Supreme Court is, run by Trump lackeys, and they seem to be willing to do a lot of really bad stuff, which I'm worried about. Anyway, what else we got here? This is interesting. Do you remember a couple days ago? I think we must have talked about this, that I showed you the video, actually, that the ICE agents and Border Patrol decided to tear gas a very wealthy Chicago neighborhood in Irving Park, Chicago called Irving Park. And they tear gassed this nice white upper middle class neighborhood, wealthy neighborhood. Really obnoxious because, of course, they were trying to, arrest Mexicans who were here illegal, and some of the locals got upset and yelled at them. So they tear gassed all the locals, tear gassed the street. Well, what I didn't know at the time, I found an article on this. They interrupted the children's Halloween parade in order to tear gas the neighborhood. They tear gassed a children's Halloween parade, folks. That's what happened with these idiots. I mean, yeah. I mean, of course, I believe it. Who wouldn't believe it, right? But yet unbelievable at the same time, right? But not a bit surprised. Exactly, Carol. This was kind of funny. ICE's plan to rapidly hire and deploy 10,000 agents is hitting obstacles because many of the agents can't meet the minimal physical standards required. They're too fat and they can't actually they can't run and stuff. So they're failing. They can't get enough guys. They also found that too many of the guys are failing the Constitution test. Now, this is actually good news. I'm a little surprised that ICE is not basically is not hiring some of these guys because they're failing the test of not violating people's constitutional rights. I would think, knowing Trump and Kristi Noem, Bambi, that it would be a badge of honor if you failed your Constitution test, right? These guys would say, this is great, right? You don't know how to treat defendants? This is great. Miranda rights? Fabulous. So it's a good thing, that they're not hiring them, but it's also pretty funny. Trump administration fired all members of the Commission of Fine Arts. It advises the government officials on DC area construction projects like Trump's new ballroom. Trump basically fired the entire commission that would review his ballroom. Remember, he just demolished a third of the White House. It's the commission that would oversee the demolishing and the construction of the new ballroom. He fired them all because he wants to either he's not going to replace them, so he doesn't have to go to them, or he's going to replace them with all of his sycophants. Again, welcome to Hungary, right? Welcome to fascism. Speaking of which, U.S. military struck 4 more boats yesterday on the Pacific side of Central America, claiming they were carrying drugs. Again, I don't believe these guys as far as you can throw them. This was a really bad story, actually. This is another story. Listen to this. Trump suspended 2 federal prosecutors today. Guess why they were suspended? They wrote a legal brief. They're federal prosecutors. They wrote a legal brief regarding dog. Okay, let me give the dog water, and then, because the story's going to go on for a bit. This is a good one. All right, dog, what do you want? What do you want? All right. Here you go. Okay. All right. Okay, so this one, okay? Trump suspends 2 federal prosecutors because they wrote a legal brief urging, maximum sentencing of a criminal. And you'd think, why would Donald Trump punish them and suspend them for trying to get a criminal to try to get a criminal getting a maximum sentence. Because the criminal was one of the January 6th domestic terrorists who Donald Trump pardoned. It gets better. It gets better. They referred to January 6th in their brief because this guy committed another crime. Trump pardons him, right? He's one of the January 6th domestic terrorists. Trump pardons him like he pardoned all the domestic terrorists. He goes on and commits another crime. So they got him on another crime. Trump doesn't like it when his January 6th terrorists get convicted of other crimes. He gets really pissed off, actually. Guess what crime this guy was convicted of? Trying to kill President Obama. Guess who helped him? Donald Trump. Donald Trump in 2023 doxed President Obama. Trump thought it would be really smart to publish on social media President Obama's address, his home address. Obama lives in Washington, D.C. Not that far from me. I mean, my old apartment was closer, but it's within a mile, put it that way, of me. And like a lot of us know where Obama lives, more or less, because, we know because we live here, right? Trump publishes Obama's address in 2023. This January 6th criminal sees Trump's post and even writes publicly and goes, oh, that's great. Now I've got Obama's address, and starts saying he's going to go get Obama. Yeah, I'm going to go. He started tweeting and stuff, or not tweeting, but writing on social media that he was going to go get Obama. He was going to shoot, and saying he was going to shoot Obama, he said, okay? He goes to the neighborhood where Obama lives, again, not that far away, and starts looking for Obama's house. Well, there's, thank God, a lot of Secret Service there. Thank God. They catch the guy. The guy has guns. He has ammunition. And he's messaging on social media while he's looking for Obama that he's trying to get a good shot of Obama. That's why he got arrested. That's why he got convicted. That's why the prosecutors submitted a memo for sentencing that this guy could get a massive sentence, right? Donald Trump didn't like it. He's punishing the prosecutors for trying to put Obama's assassin in prison. Because A, the wannabe assassin was a January 6th terrorist, and Trump pardoned him already. Now, didn't pardon him for this, pardoned him for January 6th. B, because Donald Trump is responsible for the crime. Not just because he pardoned the guy. If the guy was in prison, he wouldn't have tried to kill President Obama, but because Trump published Obama's address, which the guy then used to stalk President Obama with a handgun, or with guns and with ammunition. So freaking dangerous what's going on here. I mean, so freaking dangerous what's going on. And to punish the prosecutor, and by the way, fascism alert. Why do you punish prosecutors? Because you sent two messages now. One, don't go after my boys. Don't you dare go after my January 6th terrorists, right? That's the first message. They can commit crime. You just wait and see. I will bet that Donald Trump pardons this guy as soon as he's convicted tomorrow. I will bet that he pardons him. So that's the first thing. Telling prosecutors around the country, don't you dare convict the January 6th terrorists of any additional crimes. They can do whatever they want. Second thing, don't you dare try to protect President Obama or anybody else I don't like, because it'll be the end of your career. So all of a sudden, the prosecutors sit there and go, okay, we've got 1,500 actual criminals, the January 6th terrorists that we can't go after. And we've got a whole slew of people Donald Trump doesn't like. And now we've got to worry. You've got to worry for your, hello, come on in. Come on, let's do it. You've got to worry about your career. You've got to worry about your career and what's going to happen to you if you try to legally protect any of the people Trump doesn't like President Obama. Yeah. Sky would be glowing, but it's not. It's my lights. It's already dark out. It always looks like we do get great sunsets, but it's not actually a sunset. It's just oh, hello. Oh, hello, Julie. Thank you for that. I was trying to move so you could see that's the light reflecting from behind my TV. But it does look like a nice sunset. We do get nice sunsets, though. What else we got here? Hold on. I've got a little bit more. Oh my God, how much more news do I have here? I'm surprised as to how much news. You know what? Because I was talking a lot. There's a report that Kash Patel, Trump's FBI director, used a private FBI jet to attend his girlfriend's concert at Penn State and bring her back home to Nashville over the weekend. Isn't that nice? Isn't it nice? The government shut down. Trump's refusing to pay food stamp money. 42 million Americans are going to go hungry starting in 2 days, actually 3 days, because Trump's not going to give them their food stamps, right? We don't have money for our farmers, but we do have money for Kash Patel, the FBI director, allegedly to go fly his girlfriend around the country to see her family. That's sweet. And we do have a couple $100 million to buy some private jets for Bambi over at Kirsty Noem over at Homeland Security, right? She got 2 new jets because she's very important and she needs her jets. Yeah, exactly. Why do you hate love? Exactly. The House Oversight, there's a lot of bad news today. House Oversight Committee, House Representatives run by Republicans, they're crazy. Senate, not great. House, always been far worse. House Oversight Committee run by crazy people. Well, the crazy people running the House Oversight Committee, because you're Republicans, have asked the Justice Department to investigate President Biden's use of the auto pen. And they want, thank you, Oklahoma, more Halloween gifts, thank you. They want them to basically invalidate everything Biden did as president unless they saw him sign it. Now, what is incredible about this isn't just the lie underlying it. It's, again, fascism. They want to undo legislation that Biden signed. They want to undo pardons, which means they're going to try to convict potentially people that were pardoned. What they're claiming is, and the irony here is Donald Trump used the auto pen to pardon all the January 6ers. What they're claiming is President Biden used an auto pen. That's not allowed. They actually changed first they said that's not allowed. Then they changed their tune when they realized, oh, Donald Trump used an auto pen on all the January 6ers. An auto pen is a machine that literally writes out the signature of the president. It used to be a really cool, like when I was working on the Hill years ago in the Senate. I'm sure it's more complicated or more fancy now, but it's very cool. And it literally, the old machine literally was this weird thing where you put the pen in it and you could watch the pen do the signature. It was the coolest thing. Totally legal. It's totally legal. And you have to, because how is a president going to sign 1,500 pardons? There's no way to do it, right? Trump signed 1,500 pardons of January 6 domestic terrorists using the auto pen. Well, because Trump did that, they changed their story. So they're no longer claiming the auto pen is illegal. Now they're claiming, well, the auto pen's allowed, but the president has to approve the auto pen. And they're claiming Joe Biden was so brain dead as president, he didn't know what was going on. So they signed all the legislation and all the pardons Biden did, but Biden didn't know they were signing it. The evil staff was at the auto pen, declaring war and appropriating money and doing all sorts of things when Biden was just crazy. That's what they're claiming. No proof. Thank you, Shayna. No proof at all. But again, the fascism underlying it. First of all, they're very good at their bullshit scandals. That's the first thing. But the fascism underlying it is they are arguing that the Justice Department should say that no law signed into law by President Biden is to be considered the law of the land unless they've got proof that he signed it by hand. And as Leah just said, every accusation is a confession, of course. Again, it's pure fascism. They can't undo pardons. I wish they could, because Trump's pardons he's pardoned so many criminals, horrific criminals, including 1,500 domestic terrorists. But, a pardon's a pardon. Nothing you can do about it. Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton, he's a MAGA activist, sued the makers of Tylenol, claiming they hid the drug's unproven role in causing autism. This is a conspiracy theory of Robert F. Kennedy Jr., our wonderful health secretary, who doesn't have a background in health and is crazy, basically. Kennedy, one of his many conspiracy theories is that paracetamol, actually Tylenol is acetaminophen, right? Help me out. I think Tylenol is acetaminophen, right? Paracetamol is Tylenol? Yep. Okay, thanks. I know paracetamol is acetaminophen, but I wasn't sure if Tylenol is acetaminophen. I think it is. Yes. Um, RFK Jr. thinks that Tylenol causes autism in babies. There's no proof of this. There's no conclusive studies of this. But he's convinced. He's convinced it's true. So now the Republican attorneys general are suing Tylenol because of RFK Jr.'s crazy conspiracy bullshit. This is, again, it's all a big scam with these guys, just piling on one liar, the next liar, the next liar. Speaking of lies, HHS Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. directed the Centers for Disease Control. Mind you, Centers for Disease Control is like our big agency that's supposed to keep us safe from diseases. That's their job. They don't do that anymore because, crazy man runs it, RFK Jr. He's directed the Centers for Disease Control to probe the potential harm of offshore wind farms. Offshore wind farms? The reason he's investigating? Because Donald Trump doesn't like alternative energy. It makes him angry. So our top disease fighting agency is investigating offshore wind farms to see if they hurt whales or fish or dolphins or something. Because A, RFK Jr. is a conspiracy nut, and B, Donald Trump hates alternative energy. Donald Trump, for example, thinks windmills are dangerous. They kill animals. They're horrible. They cause cancer. Like all sorts of bullshit, he claimed. Windmills. And again, my guess is, Trump, right? Why would Trump say some cockamamie conspiracy theory about alternative energy being bad? Because it's lucrative to him to say so. That's who Trump is. Prosecutors on Long Island. Oh, a good story today. Hello. Oh, that's very funny. It's shooting the apple. Thank you, fur baby. Prosecutors on Long Island are not ruling out the possibility of bringing local charges against ex-Congressman George Santos, whose prison sentence was commuted by Trump last week or 2 weeks ago. That's good news. The U.S. is to cut some troops on NATO's eastern flank, Romania says. The American decision involves halting the rotation in Europe of a brigade that had units in several NATO countries. That's bad. It's already begun that Trump is starting to remove U.S. troops from Europe, and they're part of our defense of NATO against the Russians. That is not good. And by the way, classic Trump. We're trying to get Russia to the negotiating table over Ukraine, and rather than using, I don't think Trump should use U.S. troops in Europe as a negotiating, thing with the Russians. Trump just unilaterally is removing U.S. troops from Europe on behalf of the Russians to make them happy. Again, you're trying to get Russia to negotiate rather than saying, hey, if you negotiate, maybe we'll put U.S. troops in Europe on the table. Now, that's insane to even do that, but that's at least better than saying, you know what? I think unilaterally, we'd like to just remove U.S. troops from Europe and do Russia a favor and get nothing in exchange. That's our boy. And then finally, there isn't a ton of news from Ukraine. Actually, there's two. Yes. This is from Kyiv Independent. Ukraine's military intelligence eliminated a 45-year-old Russian lieutenant colonel involved in war crimes in Kyiv. This guy was involved with the war crimes in Bucha, a town near Kyiv. Horrific massacre that we discovered like April 1st, March 31st. Does March have a 31? Jennifer March? It does. He had been implicated in war crimes and acts of genocide committed in Bucha and other cities in February and March of 2022. As early as April of 2022, Ukrainian authorities had identified soldiers from the unit and reportedly planned measures to eliminate them. The car carrying Mazerin exploded in Russia's Kemerovo Oblast on October 25th. They blew up his car in Russia and killed him. The soldiers in this unit had better look out because the Ukrainians are going to take them all out. It's kind of an amazing story. I've said this before. The Ukrainians are like effing with the Israelis. It's like screwing around with the Israelis. Think what you want about Israel. You don't mess with Israel. Thank you, Lee. Israel will come and get you. And they've got a long, they've got the memory of elephants. They will come and, 10, 20 years later, they will get you. And the Ukrainians are showing they're very good at this, and they've got a long memory. So yeah, those Bucha soldiers, especially, every single one of them are toast. But God bless the Ukrainians, though. Damn. All right, that is it for the news. I will sit back and we will chat our more informal chat now. All right. See, actually, I guess it is doing okay. Okay. My ricer is at 8 minutes. Oh, thank you, Terry. My ricer is at 8 minutes, so it's doing well. So I was afraid it was cooking the rice too quick. I wanted the rice done at 7 so I could unplug it and let it sit for the rest of the show. So that's good. It's doing well. Anywho, oops. Wait, there we go. Okay, that's better. My iPad was like on top of a cord wobbling. Anyway, all right, guys. Oh, TikTok. We got a lot of TikTokers today. What's going on? Hey, TikTokers. Make sure you follow me if you like my work. I cover the news. Longtime political media lawyer guy in Washington, D.C. So I cover the news and try to help people understand what's going on from an insider's perspective. So do follow me if you like what you hear. Also, gifts don't hurt either, nor do subscriptions. So keep those coming too. But yeah, so now we'll talk about whatever you want. What's for dinner? Frozen Indian food. But I'm making some rice, extra rice, because it never has good rice and it never has enough rice. Hello, Tina in Denmark. Anyway, what else? Oh, thank you. Who is that? Flower Lady. Thank you, darling. Iranian rice cookers? Interesting. Well, I have that's interesting. Iranian. I never thought of that. You're right. An Iranian rice cooker. The Iranian rice, they cook it so it becomes crispy on the bottom, which is really nice. I am not making it crispy on the bottom, but that is I've had that before with like the saffron. Very good. Very good stuff. Anyway. Why be so petty about the auto pen? You mean the Trump people? It's all, this is a cult. And it's not just a cult. It's a psychological war. It's psychological warfare that they're very good at. Thank you, Carrie, for the gift. The idea is just keep undermining Biden, keep undermining Democrats, right? They keep giving bullshit conspiracy theories to their voters. Their voters sadly believe these things, as we know, right? They believe all this bullshit. And it makes the voters think, oh, those Democrats, that Biden wasn't even president. Did you hear? He signed all sorts of pardons that were fake. He signed all sorts of laws that were fake. It allows them to undercut the legitimacy of Democrats across the board. I mean, and it has the added benefit, if your voters are stupid, of making your voters think you're doing stuff for them. Look at my Republican members of Congress. They're fighting that Democratic corruption. Did you hear what Biden did with the auto pens? And our Republicans are fighting to stop it. How nice of them to save our democracy, right? It's all one big scam. No, it always kind of blows my mind, the degree to which Republican politicians will lie to their voters. You don't see it from Democrats. Not like that. You don't. Thank you, Divine. Thank you, Carol. You don't see it like this. There's something pathological about it. There's also something very disturbing about politicians that think they need to lie about everything or they won't get elected. Right? I mean, it's a little weird. It's a little weird, to put it lightly. So, how to find work after studying politics? Depends what you do. I mean, depends. I think politics always has work, so to speak. You could work in local politics, your city, the state, downstate. You could go to the big city, whatever the big city is in your state. You could go to Washington and work in politics. I mean, there's always going to be political jobs, And then there's lobbying. I mean, there's all sorts of things surrounding politics too. Certainly, if you're interested in national politics, come to Washington. Hey, Luis, come here, look for work. There's lots of places you could work potentially. Now may not be the best time if you're a Democrat. Who knows? Republican, sure. Now, are American voters really that dense? Well, they voted for this guy twice. And, thank you, Cynthia. Very cute. Appreciate that. Excuse me, yawning. Right. Puerto Rican burnt rice. Big ow. The MRI, well, it was a perfect MRI. It was the best MRI ever, the doctor said. Trump claimed. He's lying, of course. Anyway. Well, they voted for him 3 times. I guess that's true, right? Because they voted for him in 2022 or 2020 as well. Right. That's true. He lost, but they voted for him. I do not have plans for Halloween. I do have a costume for the dog. I have my Star Trek costume that I could wear, although it's already getting colder out, so we'll see. But at the very least, I always have a couple different costumes for her, so I'll be using those on Friday, maybe even Thursday. When are they going to stop the government shutdown? Man, when Republicans decide to stop our health insurance premiums from doubling, or Republicans decide to stop kicking millions of people off of Medicaid, I don't know what that is, just a human. I don't know what that guy's name is or what CPAC is doing. No. I don't know what that means either. Nuclear breach. I'm not sure what you're talking about, a nuclear breach. No. Yeah, I don't know what that is. I don't know what nuclear breach you're talking about. So I don't know. Oops. Hey, Dave, you were late, Dave. Yes, I noticed. It's okay. You're allowed. Beep. What else? Is it safe to fly in the U.S. at this time? And the air traffic controllers are being overworked. They're having to work extra jobs. The system is certainly stressed. And the Secretary of Transportation, Trump's Secretary of Transportation, Duffy, the one married to that nasty person, he got asked if it was safe. He didn't answer the question. He got asked on TV, on like Fox News, is it safe to fly right now? Did not say yes. That was kind of scary, because the obvious answer, if you're Donald Trump's transportation secretary, is yes, right? That's what you say. He didn't say that. It was very strange. Yes, Mr. and Mrs. Real World. Exactly. The U.S. felt different. I'm sure it does. I'm surprised your dad even came here. I wouldn't come here if I was a foreigner right now. The upcoming voting in New York. I mean, 1 second. I'm going to unplug my rice so it can sit for the next 15 minutes. 1 moment. There we go. All right. I do like my ice cooker. I'm glad I got it. It's a good little... It was on sale, and it was a good thing. I mean, I don't have much opinion on the upcoming election in New York. I mean, I'm not a Mamdani guy because I'm not really a big fan of left-wing socialists, but, whatever. It's not great for Democrats. He might be okay for New York. Again, I'm not a far left socialist, so I'm not a big fan of policies like that. So, but whatever. Better than a Republican. Well, that's not true either. It's not totally true, depending who the Republican is, but most likely better than a Republican. So what else? Yep. Virginia elections. Exactly. New Jersey and Virginia elections coming up. Very important. And bellwethers about what, Cuomo, are you trying to say, Ashley? You having a problem with those Italian names? Ashley writes Cumin. Cuomo. It's like almost there. Cuomo. The auto check does not like the auto pen. Ashley's using an auto pen. She's not quite there. But yeah, Trump is refusing to provide $42 million. Excuse me. He's refusing to provide 42 million people with food stamps. 42 million people are not going to get their money to buy food on November 1st, in 3 days, because Trump is legally able to do it. Under the law, he can provide the money. He doesn't want to because he wants to put pressure on Democrats. So he's literally taking food away from 42 million Americans. I mean, it's like, okay. This is, again, This is fascism. It is literally using government and using official violence to achieve extremist goals. I mean, very scary stuff, you know, very scary stuff. How he can sleep? He's a bad human being. I mean, he's able to sleep fine because and also, right? There's lots of problems in that head, even before health stuff. You know, yeah, no, I mean, literally cutting food off of people. 42 million Americans won't get food. Really? I mean, he doesn't care. Remember during COVID, Trump said during COVID that the numbers weren't that bad because the number of deaths weren't that bad because they were happening in Democratic states. He literally said this. It was just like, I'm going to see if I can find the exact quote. It was an insane quote. Again, that's our boy. Hold on. Let's see here. Yeah, listen to this. Here we go. ABC News. Trump is facing backlash after blaming blue states for the coronavirus death toll during a press conference. This is September 17th of 2020. So we're down in this territory, Trump said, pointing to a graph that the White House first unveiled in the spring, which showed two estimated ranges of possible death tolls depending on efforts to slow the spread of the violence. And that's despite the fact that the blue states had tremendous death rates. If you take the blue states meaning Democrats, states where Democrats live. If you take the blue states out, we're at a level that I don't think anybody in the world would be at. We're really at a very low level. But some of the states, they were blue states and blue state managed. Trump bragged that we were really doing quite well on fighting COVID if you don't consider all the people dying in Democratic states. It was like, I remember watching that. I watched that live and I remember going, excuse me? I mean, that's sick, but that also gets you to where we are today. You see somebody who said something that's sickening. And the fact that now today he's running as the president of MAGA and that's it, that he's trying to hurt Democrats across the board. I mean, yep, I know all about Pegasus Evolve. Very, very sick stuff. And the U.S. did exactly, as Action just said, the U.S. did far worse than most other countries. Trump's COVID response was horrific. By the way, inflation, economic problems, a lot of it was due to Trump's COVID response as well. You know? Yeah, unbelievable. Yeah, we did really well if you don't consider Democrats dying. Well, except we would. Any normal person would consider Republican and Democratic deaths to be important. If you're normal, you do. If you're not a fascist. So, yeah. What else? Daylight savings time. Yeah, this weekend finally. What is it? Fall behind, which means, well, the dog's still going to wake me up. I mean, the dog's not going to know. Wait, yeah. So at 9 o'clock, it'll be 8 o'clock. Yeah, she's going to wake me up anyway. Now she's going to wake me up an hour earlier. Oh, hello. Thank you, Angeline. What are you doing? No, come on. Relax. No, stop it. It's early. She's trying to get me to do something better. Or were you trying to? Oh, wait, Sasha, licking the ottoman? Seriously? Hey, stop. Hi. Stop, please. It's gross. Please stop. All right? She jumped. She can only half hear. So when I went, hey, she went, it was like a cat, like, ah. Thank you. No, she likes to lick my ottoman. It's the gross. Although granted, food does get on there, but still not that much. It's gross. Gross. Anyway. Yes. Oh, there we go. More of the Day of the Dead stuff. Thank you. Katrina. They're calling it Katrina. That's funny. I don't know why. Interesting. Oh God. Okay. A touch more water because I was going to do it when I got up for the rice. I swear I was going to do it. And I didn't. And I did. Oh, I got to talk about the TV show. Oh my god. So I was going to mention I watched a TV show today, House of Dynamite. It's on Netflix. Everyone's talking about it. Really pissed me off. I want to be careful because I don't want to do any. Well, I don't want to do any spoilers. It really pissed me off. It's an incredible show. It's like a TV movie. It's an incredible show, and it ends so horrifically stupid that you're going to be very pissed you spent 2 hours. I don't want to tell too much. Show about nuclear war possibility. I'll say that. But it ends so freaking stupid. But I mean, I thought it was an amazing show. It had some glaring holes that weren't realistic, but it was very good. And then it ends so freaking stupid that actually I can tell you how it ends because it's not going to spoil it for you. This won't spoil it at all. I mean, okay, if you want to watch the show and you really don't want to hear, but I'm actually not going to spoil it, but I'm going to tell you how it ends. So cover your ears for a second, and I'm going to tell you how it ends. Okay? Get ready. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thank you for the gift, CC. So how the show ends, they stop right before the nuclear bomb hits, right before the president decides what he's going to do. Is he going to respond? Is he going to wait? Who's he going to hit? The show ends. So it's all about America getting attacked, and the show is about like a nuclear weapon coming in. And right before the weapon hits and the president makes a decision what he's going to do, the show ends because they want you. You think about what you would do. And I'm going, really? Are we 12? First of all, Lady and the Tiger or The Sopranos for that matter. Like you thought this was new, this idea of let's not have an ending. And the ending will be that we don't have an ending. Oh, so pissed me off. That's what I said. It doesn't quite ruin it for you. I mean, it ruins it because it was a bad show. Idris Elba was good, I thought. But it was so obnoxious. I mean, literally, again, I'm not ruining it because you're going to find out anyway. They stop the show mid-show and it's over. And you're going, as somebody said on TikTok today in my comments, they said, it's as if it's a movie called House of Dynamite on Netflix, made for TV movie. Somebody said on TikTok, they said, it's like there were 3 parts to the movie and they did part 1 and then it got canceled. And I was like, that was perfect. That's exactly what it was. It was like part 1 ended and it got canceled. Because you sit there and go, you've got to be kidding me. This is over? They just stopped. They literally stopped before the show was over and went, you have to figure out what you think happened next. Like, what are you, a child? Yeah, Lady and the Tiger. No, never heard of that before. Really, anyway, pissed me off. So pissed me off. Yeah, House of Dynamite Part 2. Yeah. Man. I mean, again, and there's also little bits which were kind of bullshit. I mean, I'm going to share a little bit more. Seriously, if you don't want to hear it, don't hear it. But these are just little bullshit bits. I'm not going to tell you all the details, but it's about possible nuclear war and the president figuring out what to do, right? But the nukes haven't hit yet, but they might hit. And he's going, well, if one nuclear bomb lands and I haven't retaliated before the bomb hits, then we can't retaliate. And all his top aides are agreeing. And I'm going, wait a minute. If one nuclear weapon on a missile lands in the US, that's very bad. If only one lands, you can easily retaliate, right? We've got all our planes, we got all our submarines, we got all the missiles in the rest of the country. You can easily retaliate. But he goes, if I don't fire right now before the missile hits, we won't be able to retaliate. It was one missile coming in. Of course you could retaliate. That was the first thing. Second of all, he goes, if I don't retaliate right now, we could have 100 missiles coming at us and then it's too late. Why would it be too late if 100 missiles were coming at you? If 100 missiles were coming at you, A, you'd know where they were coming from. That would be helpful. B, it takes 18 minutes for them to get here. You'd have 18 minutes to retaliate. That's a lot. I'm a little confused. But he literally goes, there'd be 100 missiles and we wouldn't be able to respond. Yeah, you would. The other thing was, They tell all the White House staff to leave. They tell the White House staff, get out of here, go home, run. If America is about to be at war, you don't tell the White House staff to go home. You'd say, you need to stay beyond your shift tonight. We're about to get nuked, right? Anyway, so there are little things like that that pissed me off. That kind of pissed me off, I will say. Yes, the Russians had the dead hand protocol. I don't know if the U.S. did. Congress does get paid, Doug. Yes. But it was, it was actually, I found it to be very moving. I will say too, all the staff in the missile silo starts freaking out about there being a possible nuclear war. And you're going, really? Like everybody in the U.S. Air Force working in a missile silo, like all 7 of them, are so unprofessional that they're freaking out that there might be a nuclear war. Really? Like maybe 1, but all of them? Really? The Secretary of Defense flips out too. He can't handle it. Secretary of Defense. The Secretary of Defense can't handle that we're at war? The Secretary of Defense. I would think the Secretary of Defense would be somebody probably most likely to be able to handle us being at war. You get it. It was like some Hollywood morons image of what everybody would crumble. Whatever. Pissed me off. Now I'm getting more pissed off. The mean Secretary of War. I don't know if he was mean. He's a great actor. Oh my God. He's such a good actor. I know when I love my TV. It upsets me a lot when people do TV badly. The other thing they did bad, all the coffee cups didn't have coffee in them. And I don't know. I've talked with Damien about this because Damien used to work in Hollywood. For some reason, and what the hell? Okay, anybody who's in Hollywood, please fix this. They never put water inside the coffee cups. So they've got Starbucks. It's always like a Starbucks thing or something, right? A Starbucks thing. There's never water in there. So they always pick it up and they go like this. Let's pretend this is the coffee cup. They go, oh, thank you. And you're like, well, okay. If there was liquid in there, especially coffee, you wouldn't go boom. And they also lift it really easily. If there's, even this has some weight, I lift it up and I go like this. They literally pick it up and go like this. And you're like, there was nothing in there. Again, of course, there's no budget. They have a budget for water. They have a budget for rocks. You can put something that has weight in there. So at least when the person picks it up, it's like, and when you tip it, you go like this. It's not like they literally go like this. You're like, there was not all the time. Every TV show I've ever watched, they do this. It drives boxes too. Yeah. But I don't quite understand why there's nobody on the set going, that looked ridiculous, right? Absolutely ridiculous. Correct, Joe. We don't want to ruin it for everybody, but yeah. Yeah, but water making sound, that's interesting. Maybe water would make sound, but you know what? Everything wouldn't make sound. You know what wouldn't make sound? Cement. Anything hard, anything glue, anything hard would not make sound, right? Just Jell-O wouldn't make sound, by the way, either. Just put Jell-O in there, right? You could put lots of stuff in there, but water might if you took a sip. That's an interesting question, right? Whether water would make a sound with your microphone if you tried to sip it. But I think at the very least, you could design a cup that has something heavy in it so that at least when you pick it, or you know what? Tell the damn actors, don't pick up your water like this. Take it and, again, pretend it's heavy. Like, oh, right? And then a little sip, right? Just, you're an actor. Pretend it's heavy. It's not rocket science, right? Anyway, we talk about everything on this show. Oh, interesting. Woody Allen was in the Moscow Film Festival. That's interesting. Well, no, the problem could be if with microphones, the way they pick up everything, it could be way too much of a an unnatural sloshing sound, maybe, right? The wife, who knows? Of course, who knows? Right? Nobody was ever anybody. Yeah, the suitcases or Damien told me groceries, they would do that. They would put just some fake things sticking out the top. So they pick up groceries and it's like, boom, rather than it being heavy, And right. And you could fix it in post-production as well, as Alyssa just said. Yep. Yep. No, that's exactly what I mean. Like there's a certain weight to a coffee cup, a cup with liquid. And every single time you can tell they pick it up and they go and they drink it literally. Again, I don't know what possesses people to drink and go like nobody, especially hot coffee. Hot coffee, you're not doing this, right? Hot coffee, you're going like maybe even just do a little sip slowly and put it down. That works, you know? Anyway, very weird stuff indeed. So, 7:15. Actually, I'm going to go in a second here since actually I got to put my food in my microwave too. I forgot about that. It's going to take a few minutes. I do not love Stranger Things. I watch Stranger Things, but I don't love it. I find it a bit silly. I find it a little silly. So like the last one just got more silly. But right, fixing it costs more. That's true, Alan. Yeah, I could see that. Honestly, I would just tell the actor, if it were my movie, I'd be like, you know what? You're going to pick up the damn cup like it's got coffee in it. Don't just grab it, move it fast, and throw it down your throat. But I notice it every time. For me, it takes me out of the, what do you call it? It pierces the veil or whatever. It takes me out of the show. I always look and go, it just does. I do like horror movies, although sometimes they can be a little too horrible. Anyway, they also never say goodbye at the end of a phone call. Oh, that's funny. I didn't notice that. That's actually very fun. I'll have to pay attention to that. I'll say bye, but I usually go, okay, bye. My French friends would always die because I'd be like, okay, bye. Like I would call a friend in DC and be like, oh, hey, could you make sure you check on this? Okay, bye. And he'd be like, oh, French friends like, oh, you didn't say bonjour. You didn't say ça va. Like, and then you just hung up. I said, yeah, but I said, okay, thanks, bye. I said, thanks and bye. But it was so fast. I said, it's my friend. They know who I mean, I don't need to give a bonjour. How are you? Is the family fine? It's like, I just thought it was, oh no, if a French are funny with that, they hear me on the phone, they're like, oh, it's funny the difference, Again, if you're used to it, it's not offensive because it's the way we talk to friends. We're like, hey, what's going on? Oh yeah, make sure you check that. Okay, bye. So anyway, all right, guys, I think I'm going to go so I can get my Indian food cooking in the microwave. Since I forgot it'll take a few minutes anyway. We're gruff. I know we're gruff. We're gruff. Rough. And it's ciao, 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 ciao. Or what was what was ciao, ciao, ciao? There was another one I heard. My little Italian videos on TikTok and stuff the other day. Oh no, it was Greeks. I think it might have been yeah. Was it yeah? It might have been that. I'm trying to remember what it was in Greek that they said like 10 times. It was very funny. Or what, I forget what's the goodbye, not goodbye, but what you'd say in Greek that you would say repeatedly. They said it like literally 10 times. And I was like, oh, that's the funniest thing. But if our Greeks are still here, maybe not. Maybe Fallen's not here tonight. Shui Lobat? That sounds funny. Lobat. Lobat. That's very funny. I've never heard that. That's good. Yeah. Oh, hey, Fallen. No, but is it yeah? Yeah. I want to say it because I saw a video. It was very funny. And it was a comedy video, so they were being funny anyway. But she repeated it like 8 or 10 times. It was just very funny. And right, not knowing the country it's launched from, that's a little weird. Yeah, on many levels, it's a little weird. Yeah. So anyway, actually, all right, I'm going to go, but I will put in a final plug since Fallen's here with the Greek stuff, on my Greek citizenship stuff. I wrote to the local GAC, which is this like archive, and I emailed them. They got back to me the next day, and they'd already looked for the records I wanted and said they couldn't find them. But the person was so nice and said, I couldn't find the records. Are you sure this town versus that town? And then recommended another city, Kalamata, and gave me an email address. So I wrote them back and I said, yeah. I know about the town, blah, blah, blah. And I said, I actually tried Kalamata. That email address bounced. I tried it in July. But I couldn't believe by email within one day, this Greek office in southern Greece got back to me, had already done the search for me. It was very sweet of them. So if they can't find what I need, I still may go back to them for genealogy stuff because they still have a lot of genealogy records, which could be very cool. if they're willing to do it. I don't know. I don't know how much they do or don't do. You know what I mean? But I was just very impressed. I was like, even in the US, nobody's going to respond to you in a day. Like, that was like, I was like, and in Greece, I was like, whoa, that was ridiculously nice. So yeah, that was very nice of them. So yay, go Greeks. So anyway, all right, I'm gonna go, guys. Have a good evening. I'm gonna go have my rice. Discord, where are you? There you are. 1 second. Doop. All right, JTA, Doug, and Kite. See you guys. All right. YouTube. All right. See you, YouTubers. TikTok, you are next.